Meta's Connect keynote. Ooh, this was hard to watch, and it, in some ways, it reminded me a little bit of the Google Pixel event, but in other ways, it didn't. And what I mean by that is, this was hard to watch because two of the biggest takeaways were the demo that the demos that Meta put on did not work. And they weren't just, a 10-part demo where the last part didn't work. These were major demo failures. And it just set the scene for a awkward presentation. The showmanship just wasn't there. Again, no disrespect to Mark Zuckerberg. They may be trying to recreate, some of these Apple keynotes from the 2000s. They're not coming close. And I'll be completely honest. And this is a broader theme with all of these companies that are still doing live presentations or live keynotes. These presentations are increasingly very difficult for me to get through. And it's just because they're not fun to watch. It's not that the material could be interesting if it's done a certain way, but there's no polish. There is no anticipation. There's no mystery. Mark Zuckerberg started this presentation basically showing off Meta Ray-Ban display, and then he just said, "Oh, I'll talk about this in a few minutes." It's not Apple, and I know it's not fair to compare everything to those Apple events from the 2000s with Steve Jobs. I get that, and I don't mean to do that. It is unfair to companies if that's the bar. Like, if you have to get over that bar in order to justify a live event. I still come back to this point, though, where these companies, they probably would be better off having a pre-taped presentation, but it feels like they can't do it. They can't do a pre-tape presentation because they can't pull it off. They don't have the taste to pull it off. And at this point, I almost think that these companies, it would come across as too much of an Apple copy, right? If they came out with this flashy 60-minute, well-produced film that replaces an in-person or a live keynote, I feel like everyone would be like, oh, they're just doing Apple. They're doing what Apple does. And so they're putting themselves in these tight situations where these events, they're brutal. They're becoming really difficult to get through. And I'm interested in tech. And I think for the average consumer, these things are just not they're not registering. And I do wonder, is that what Meta was figuring? Like, oh, no one's gonna watch this anyway, so we might as well have it at 8 p.m. Well, let's have fun with it. Let's have a dinner and then maybe.